Welcome back to the Flaherty Solutions podcast. My name's Kevin.
I'm Erin.
Wow. It's always the second episode. The energy level. Well, the last one we just did. If you didn't catch last week's, we actually talked about what just happened with the schools. Wah, wah, wah. It was hard to talk about. Honestly, it was because a lot of people I'm not all about pleasing everybody because it's always going
Well,
to...
it's impossible.
It's impossible. But it's still a very, very delicate situation. I see both sides.
You know why? Because school is such a huge part of everybody's life. Like, unless you've been homeschooled forever, school is a huge part of
it's an institution.
Life and of our childhood. It's one of the few things that hadn't changed until recently. So, what are we talking about today?
What are we talking? Is it okay to change your mind?
Of course it is.
No. Oh, yes, it is.
It is okay to change your mind. The reason I brought this episode idea because I've been listening to some online mentors of mine who I really admire, and there's this theme of, especially creators and writers, when they write something and they put something or maybe even if they don't write it, if they put it out on social media and they're a public figure, people will hold them to it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Forever. And so it's kind of like if you wrote something 5 years ago, that was who you were 5 years ago. And you might have said certain beliefs. You might have even told people, you might have advised people to do certain things. And if you change your stance on anything, then everyone's like, well, you said, and it's like, but that was me 5 years ago. And can you imagine if none of us evolved past where we were 5 years ago? That'd be really scary. So the point is, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to evolve and change your stance on things. It's even okay to be like, we're not going to talk about politics, but it's like, I was the biggest blah, 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 Democrat, Republican, whatever, and then now I totally disagree with what I was. Like, it's okay to change your stance on something and not worry about what people think. And it goes beyond changing your mind. It goes to some people, a lot of people are afraid to make certain decisions that potentially contradict something they said or did. Like, I don't know, if they want to change jobs, they want to change locations, they want to move out of state. Maybe they were the biggest Marylander ever, and then all of a sudden like people will hold themselves back from changing.
But you never said you were gonna move. You can't change. You can't move.
Or you moved for a job.
Yeah.
That seemed, maybe you moved your family. Maybe you uprooted your family to another state, and the job really sucks. Yeah. Are you obligated to stay in that job forever just because you made your family move? Hell no.
Hell no.
But people get hung up on it because they're like, I did it for the job. Or I'm sort of jumping all over the place, but one thing I hear a lot is,
I can't keep up.
I know. Well, come on, keep up. You've known me for how long? If you can't keep it up now, you're never going to. Real quick
what were you
sidebar.
gonna say?
Since I'm all over the place, I am going to do a sidebar, okay? So we got in from our camping trip the other day, and my friend Melanie wanted to call me, and I said, oh yeah, we just got in, and I said, yeah, I'm around all afternoon. We just got in from our trip, and she said, well, call me when you get settled. And I laughed. I said,
never settled.
I don't think I've been settled in 39 years. So anyway, what I was going to say is another one I hear where people keep themselves stuck and are afraid to change their stance or change their plans, change what they were going to do, is they say, I can't quit this job. I've put too much time in, or I can't quit this relationship. I've put too many years of my life in.
Ugh.
And so the fact that they've put so much in,
and they have no right to change their mind.
That they don't have any right, or they feel like they'd be wasting the time behind them, but they have all this time ahead that they're wasting by staying with something, an idea, a stance. It's okay. No one cares, really, at the end of the day.
No. And that, no one cares. That's actually, what are we calling this podcast today?
Is it okay to? I mean, we can
Like,
call it
no one
we
cares.
can call it No One Cares.
Should really be the name of the podcast because
I think we should.
no one cares. Jimmy Iovine, raise your hand. I'm watching you. Raise your hand if you know who Jimmy Iovine is. Jimmy Iovine, because most people don't. HBO did a great documentary on him, and Dr. Dre. Jimmy Iovine, this tiny little white Jewish dude, and Dr. Dre were thick as thieves. They made Beats headphones together. But Jimmy Iovine started in the 70s with all these rock stars. Like in the 80s, Stevie Nicks, Tom Petty. He worked with everybody. The Boss. And nobody knows who this dude is. Jimmy Iovine was probably behind the music you like jammed out to in your car when you were in high school. Like, the dude's been around forever. And he, early on in his career, had a huge success right off the bat. And then he failed trying to get the second band up and running. They fired him. And he was so embarrassed to come home to Long Island or Queens or wherever. And he comes home and nobody cared. Like, they're like, hey, Jimmy, how's it going? They weren't paying attention. People aren't paying attention to your
much as you not nearly as much. And I think there's the compulsion, if you make a big decision that's going to shock people, whatever that may be, whatever your version of that is, like, I can't do that because what will my grandmother say?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, what will they think keeps people in stuck positions. I mean,
I get that. Like, I get that indoctrination.
I get the compulsion.
Yeah, a lot of us we are a part of a cult. Your family, the way you're raised, is your tiny little cult, is a way of thinking of it. And you're indoctrinated. Like, don't do these things, don't do that. And for a lot of us, it's hard to bend and break away from those, especially when it's like, my parents went to church, you go to church, you raise your kids to go to church, I did this. Like, that's a perfect example. But it's just, people aren't paying attention as much, especially with Facebook. And we all think we're all these, like, celebrity superstars because we had a post and it got 150 likes, woohoo! And now, like, oh no, though, I quit my photography job. I can't let people know that. Like,
right. Or I got fired from my job, or my spouse left me.
Yeah.
Or, I mean,
people will care about that.
Or
they'll either want to come to your rescue, or
my child got diagnosed with whatever. Oh, a big one. I mean, I got diagnosed with something, or I, take medicine for this mental condition. Like, whatever what will people think might be holding you back.
Yeah. Oh, that's deep. I like that. With my background with the markets and investing, Mark Twain had a famous quote. It's kind of making a hard left from what you were saying.
Love it.
But when the facts change, I change my mind. All right. And the way I was told that was a little bit different. When the facts change, I change my opinion, which basically means the same thing. But I heard that back in 2016 from we were doing a investment review through a group of people, and JP Morgan came in and brought that in. Anyway, it's something I always used to be so steadfast on, like, these are my beliefs. And now as facts come out, things might change, my opinion might change, and I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. And to simplify a little bit of what you were saying with, especially hard, fast, like, oh, you said that back in 2015. How could you dare change your mind? Well, the facts changed. Therefore, my mind changed.
Is it Mark Twain's was very wise. Is it really facts at all? Or is it just the person's confidence changed? I mean, because a lot of, take Glennon Doyle, for example. Glennon Doyle wrote Love Warrior, where she was talking about her husband who cheated on her and how she was staying with him. Well, 5 years later, she wrote a book called Untamed, where she had left said husband and was now married to a woman. So
that's called That Didn't Age Well.
So the facts didn't change. She realized that she didn't want to stay stuck in something. You know, it just turned. She just wasn't
Yeah.
evolved beyond Love Warrior
No, but
until she was ready to.
it doesn't have to be as Mark Twain said it. It can be
Right,
another
right.
avenue.
So it's not always that the facts change.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you realize what you really want. You know, sometimes you realize, like you hear stories all the time, like, oh, I always wanted to be a lawyer. I went to law school, and then I hated being a lawyer. And then, you know, so I quit. So, but how could I pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for school and not do anything with it? Well, you have to make a choice. You have to make that decision and tell people and, you know, deal with that, or, you know, and then be happy doing what you think you should do. Like, you're not stuck in anything.
Well, they still don't have to be happy. They can still be miserable.
Hopefully they are. But I always want to know. I mean, you and I don't love commitment, and so I always want to know when I sign up for something, like, how can I get out if it doesn't work?
It's so funny. I wanted to do like a third Thursday night dinner club with our closest friends. Like, we hang out with these people all the time before COVID, and damn you, COVID. And Aaron was like, I don't know, I'm not signing up for that. I was like, we see him every other Friday night. Let's do like a restaurant theme thing, like on a Wednesday or Thursday, like once a month. And she's like, whoa. Like, she was sitting on the couch like, I'm not doing that. I'm not signing up for that.
Because I either do something every day or not at all. So when I agreed to marry you, it was like, we're doing this every day.
Yeah.
It was never a not at all thing. But
Yeah.
I don't like standing commitments.
Yeah. Like,
I
oh,
don't
I'll
like
meet you at the gym every Tuesday.
No.
She's like, no, whoa. Let's go hang out with some of our closest
you know what
friends.
I also don't like?
No.
I like commitments with myself. Meaning I'm gonna move 30 minutes every day. I can do that myself, because if I feel like doing it at 5 a.m., I can get up and do it at 5 a.m. That's a promise to myself.
Yeah.
But if I meet someone at the gym at 5 a.m.,
Ugh.
that's too much. I don't want to let someone down.
Yeah.
So I don't want the position to where then I have to cancel, or then I have to like get up when I don't want to work out at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I want, like, I'm going to move 30 minutes. So if I don't feel like doing it in the morning, I can do it later. I want the flexibility with myself, not we told those people we'd meet them, and now we're in a position where I want to cancel and I can't. Or I feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like.
See, but it's dinner. It's not like I gotta go exercise.
I know, but
I get
with
it,
like
though.
childcare and like
we don't have that anymore. So
I know. Out to dinner.
I'm trying to work
I
it, friends.
know.
I'm trying to get us back in the rotation.
No.
But I've gotten that way though, where I don't want to commit to things because it's going to stress me out. Like, especially
someone gets
evening
sick,
things. Like, I almost refuse to take meetings anymore at night, because like normally I'm wrapping up between 3:30 and 4 with my work schedule, and then I'm normally suited up if I'm going to meet with people. So then I got to come home and I got to dress, you know, do I stay in my suit? The kids are trying to jump on me, they're not. But it's just stress. And I'm like stirring around the kitchen. I don't know, I'm stressing out just thinking about it. All right, what else we got?
I love how the point of this podcast is it's okay to change your mind, and we're like, but you can't set a commitment because then we'd have to change our mind, and we can't do that. See, and that's my point, is that I reserve the right to change my mind. So I don't want to say, let's do dinner every third Thursday, and then be like, I have nothing to say to these people. I want to cancel. Like, I don't want to be in that position.
Yeah.
I want the right to change my mind.
So the way I got to spring it on her is like, I have a calendar reminder, like, we're doing dinner. And then on like Tuesday, like, hey, we're going out to dinner with the crew. We're going, right? That works for you. Oh yeah, I'm checking my schedule. I don't have anything on my schedule.
Yes, it has to be.
And then she's like,
yes.
then we're in.
But if it's like an every, no. Do every anything.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think I don't know. It's strange.
I mean, how many, and I don't think I'm the only
But
one in my late 30s who feels this way, or maybe not just late 30s, but like, how many times are you like, yeah, that sounds awesome, and then you don't want to go?
Well, I'm starting to get to the point where when instead of like making something in your 20s, you make something up like, oh, my kid, I don't even have a kid yet, but my kid's sick, like, or my dog, I have to take my dog to the vet. My dog's not feeling well. You don't have a dog. Yes, I do. But now in my late 30s, it's just like, I kind of don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If someone's like, we should get together, I'm just like, and I won't do anything.
People like that we hang out with that watch us are like, are they like that with us?
I mean, if we want to hang out, we want to hang out.
This is true. That just made it awkward.
For you.
Yeah, I guess so.
They know I'm the party leader.
We're 15 minutes in. Nobody's listening.
They might be. We have some groupies.
Yeah, thank you. We do appreciate the love and support you guys give us.
Anything else to say on that? I just feel
No, I think so my takeaways, and I'm trying to self-help. You hate when I say that. I'm trying to work on for myself is I'm trying not to stress out about certain things in my life, and this isn't one I want to stress out about anymore. It's like, well, I said that last year, and that's really the way I felt about things. Like, I'll never move from the island, and now I'm like, oh, maybe I'll move. Like, that used to stress me out. Like, oh, I can't go back on my word. I can't change my mind. So I'm really working on like de-stressing and not freaking out over the little stuff. Like 5-minute problems. I always like this. You know, when you're stressing about something, is this a 5-minute problem or is this a 5-year problem? And in 5 years, will you remember what you're stressing about right now in this moment?
You and I also change a lot on everything.
Yeah.
And like, so for example, and so I'm also trying not to be so rigid. What, diet?
No, we're just like such a South Park episode. Like, if you guys don't watch South Park, it's very crude and...
Oh, it's awesome though. I mean, it's what you need in this world right now.
It's so realistic to like how middle America, including us, like react to things. Like, oh, they're shutting down the government, and like you see people in South Park just like, oh my god.
If you don't know, if you've been living under a rock and you don't know what South Park is, you should check it out. And it's not for kids, but
yeah, our kids don't watch it.
Our younger one does not watch it.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God.
Our teenager might. So, no, but so I majored in health education in college because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. So I majored in health education. So I've always been really interested in like food and nutrition and things like that. And I have a tendency to be rigid with diet. So I'm really also trying to, when I change my mind, not be rigid. So like Kevin went and caught crabs at his parents' house. They have crab traps. And he caught some crabs and brought them home the other day. And historically, there have been times where I've been like vegetarian-ish. Like I've never been like 100%, but like I eat pretty vegetarian. And then a few years ago, the whole low carb thing was in. I was trying to lose some weight. It's easier to do low carb when you eat meat. So I was just like, all right, I'm just going to like look the other way and I'm just going to eat meat because it's easier.
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin seasoned these poor crabs alive, and then one literally was like trying to escape for dear life, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. Like I don't want to eat meat anymore. Like that was it. But I'm not going to be so rigid to where I don't let myself eat. Does that make sense? Yeah. I'm not going to stand on a rock.
She's going to get the Kung Pao chicken in
we're
like
ordering
10 minutes.
I'm going to get the shrimp. But I'm not going to apologize about it.
Yeah.
I made a decision the other day
I'm proud of you.
that I'm like, I'm going to try. So I've been eating vegetarian where I normally would have just taken a handful of like turkey, like sliced turkey. I would have eaten that. Now I'm just going to be like, oh no, I'll eat oatmeal. I'll eat we eat cheese, or you know what I mean? I'm going to be less rigid. And then I'm going to get the shrimp because in my mind, it's better than the Mongolian beef, even though that's delicious. But I'm just not going to do that. And you know what? And if I change my mind in 10 minutes and I get Mongolian beef, no one's going to say anything.
And 5 years from now, you're not going to be like, oh, well, Erin said she wasn't eating meat.
No. Like, why do you care? And, it's my life.
Because people are dicks online.
Right. And I'm going to evolve. And I hope that 5 years from now, I mean, you're probably, if you have a video or a picture or something that you wrote from 5 years ago, you probably laugh at it. That was something that I got from the Rise podcast. Like, you should be you're going to giggle at it because you've evolved past that, and you're going to evolve 5 years from now. So we're going to, oh my God, we're going to laugh so hard at these podcasts.
I know. Have you seen any of the first ones? They're so like stiff and cringeworthy. It's awesome.
Oh, why would you do that to yourself?
It's like, oh my God, that's awesome. But last thing I'll say is, This lunch we had today was just awesome. It was like, what type of cheese was that?
Oh my God.
The one was.
My memory is going so fast. I don't know.
But anyway, lunch was just like potato chips
and cheese
and bread and
pickles.
bread and butter pickles, and like it was just a great combination. I was like sitting there. I was like, what am I, like 78? Like, this is something my grandfather would have been eating for lunch.
It was good,
but
though.
It was so good. And then the last thing I'll say is not beating yourself up on what you were saying with like health, leaving yourself room. So in my 20s, I always like, these are my beliefs, and I was really like, no, you can't change your mind on that. And now I leave myself more room to, like, when I learn something new, I'm not always like, whoa, I read that in a textbook. Like, I have to believe every single word, because so many things change and evolve. You talk about health and diet. Like, how many times have eggs been good for you? Eggs aren't good for you. Eggs are bad, good, bad. I can't. So now, since I'm older and I have more experience, I leave myself more room. Like, when I hear something, you know, I'm taking a class and the instructor's like, well, when you're driving this way, I'm always like, okay, I'll follow that, but I'm not going to beat somebody up if they're like, don't do it that way. You should try it this way.
Well, and awareness of other people and other groups and other genders, and you know, you're not female. You can learn a lot from other females. You know, we're not black. We're not Indian.
Yeah.
We can learn a lot by listening.
Exactly.
To someone else's experience, because all we have is our own.
Yes, and to that point, just because you talk to the first, you know, Indian person this is the first one you've ever talked to, you also have to be cautious to be like, well, maybe I need to talk to like 3 or 4 or 5.
Yes.
Because I do see that happen a lot, where it's like, well, I have one friend. And,
right,
you know.
and so they're all that way.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. It's that they're not all that way.
As you assault your Yeti. All right, people, you know the drill. Share this if you enjoy it, and shoot us a message. Let us know what you think. Topics you want us to cover. You guys have been great. See you later.
Bye.